First we'll start recording. Okay. Then go live on Facebook. Right? This morning I checked out Zoom and I checked out Facebook. Oh, great. All right. And I checked out the PowerPoint slides. So theoretically, okay. That's what I'm going to focus on today. Creating harmony with 2-year-olds. Okay, it says it will take me live now. All right, back to Zoom. All right, it says it's live now. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to screen share. Oh, wait. I just remembered something. I learned how to do this. Let's see. Oops. Okay. All right. There. I learned to set this up. So it should work smoothly. Now I'm going to screen share. Share the screen. Optimize. Okay. Now, today we're going to, I realized yesterday I haven't talked about 2-year-olds for a long time. And it is one of the strong focuses that I have is helping the 2-year-old time be good for 2-year-olds and the adults in their lives. So now this was the third episode, at least as far as I know. There were some that didn't get recorded when I was starting out. But anyway, so we're going to go through a couple of the first ones. And then one of the later ones. And then we'll do the introductory lesson. Instead of putting it first, always, okay. Welcome to Karen Ryce's Family Zoom Station. That was what this was originally called. Episode 3, Happy 2-Year-Old and Kids Feel Loved. We'll see what this is. I did not look through these, so we shall see. Lesson 2, Transitional Twos, the Age of Willpower. It's important to understand that human beings of this age are developing willpower, which, if properly developed, will serve them well from then on. Willpower has many important functions. It's the power behind wanting, wishing, and desiring, of determination, of commitment. It's the power that motivates you to action, to persevere, to carry through. All important things. 2-year-olds are constantly practicing, doing their best to create well-developed willpower, which is then put at the service of their intelligence. Unless adults oppose them, their intelligence is at the service of their developmental blueprint. Remember, this blueprint helped them achieve everything so far, going from the abilities of a newborn to the abilities of a 2-year-old. Now their willpower is added to the mix. Their will is used to want what best serves their human development, to commit to it, to act on it, to persevere to success. A 2-year-old can be easy to live with when treated with respect. To respect them, we respect what they are developmentally motivated to do. They need to make as many of their own decisions as they can. Whenever possible, we follow their lead. Remember, developmentally, they must want and wish, be determined, committed, act, persevere. Remember, just as you want to be happy, you want your 2-year-old to be happy also. So when you want them to make a different choice, encourage them by pointing out what they might find interesting and challenging about your choice. Be sure to offer the alternative before they've become determined to pursue their choice. If a 2-year-old is very insistent that they must do something, that means they are practicing being determined, committed, and persevering. Then it is good, if at all possible, that they complete what they have begun. Lesson 7, help them make choices you like. 2-year-olds are very busy creating their components of strong and well-functioning willpower under the guidance of their developmental blueprint. The ability to want, the ability to be determined, the ability to persevere, putting all these abilities at the service of their intelligence. It is almost impossible for them to do anything that is contrary to this. However, knowing this makes it easier to live with them. They are not being disobedient. You can help change the direction of a 2-year-old's will if you catch it early enough. 1, give them opportunities to cooperate with you. 2, tell them how much you appreciate their help. 3, 2-year-olds like to work and to be helpful, useful, needed. 4, be alert. 5, quickly offer them an alternative on which to practice willing, when what they first choose does not agree with you. Once they become fixed on something, then the other practices come into play, being determined and persevering. At this point, your suggestion has to be really attractive to them for them to change. Otherwise, it's easier and more peaceful, if it's possible for you to do this, to go along with them, looking for the first opportunity to change their focus. Remember, this period is very important in human development. It doesn't last very long if they get to do it properly. Though I know that it can seem eternal when you're right in the middle of it. It is a great opportunity to develop and practice patience. Last week, as I listed what you can look forward to when you use the one rule agreement, the first thing I mentioned was that kids always feel loved. I decided that this is so important that I want to go into more detail about why I know this. Well, I'm going to continue this because I do think it's important, even though it's not exactly on topic here, but it is because when you work with your 2-year-old instead of against them, they feel this too. They feel loved. The first time that I became aware that the solution I had created to overcome the root cause of conflict between adults and kids made it possible for kids to feel loved. This came to me in a thank you letter. The writer's teen sister was able to stop going to therapy after their mother bought my book and began implementing what she had learned. The one rule had not appeared yet. According to the older sister who wrote the letter, her younger sister finally felt loved and no longer needed therapy. Her mother had loved her all along, but that love didn't reach her teenage daughter. She did not feel loved. So this approach to parenting is powerful enough to ensure that kids feel loved. Kids who were loved but didn't feel loved. It makes it possible for the love to reach them. Imagine the one rule agreement as a strong bridge between hearts because it ensures that kids always feel loved. When this heart-to-heart bridge is created by using the one rule, kids not only feel loved by you, but it also enables them to love themselves. I recently understood more of how this works when I thought back over a coaching session I'd just given. When you make agreement your rule and you follow it, you are holding space for yourself and for your child. You are accepting your truth and your child's truth. This keeps love flowing between you. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. We can go on to the next one. I think. I hope. All right. Let's start. All right, this is episode 4, Happy 2-Year-Olds and Their Helpful Work. This series of classes on the unique needs of a 2-year-old are taken from the training Harmony with Your 2-year-old. Oh, I was wondering where those lessons were from. Okay, this week we look at lessons 3 and 4. The questions at the end of each lesson may be discussed during the Q&A part of the show. Last week, we covered some of the most important reasons that adults have trouble with 2-year-olds. This was to help improve the situation by understanding what is happening. For harmony to exist, we have to respect what they must do developmentally. We also covered how and when to help them make a different decision. Today, we're going to focus on how we can actually help them with their work, not just not getting in the way of them doing their work, but actually helping them do their work. One very important aspect of them doing their work is choosing intelligent work to do. Work they understand. We can provide intelligent choices for them. We introduce that in today's lesson. I'm going to have a little water. One of their intelligent choices is imitating the work you do. Simple physical work like lifting, carrying, cleaning, even getting dressed. They understand the activity from start to finish, so it engages their intelligence. They can use their willpower and their physical ability to act. This helps them integrate these aspects of their personality. Let's start today's lesson on helping them by thinking of the good side of our 2-year-old. Lesson 3, what are the noble qualities of 2-year-olds? They are eager for life, for experiences. They forgive easily. They love easily. They are honest. They are determined to follow their developmental blueprint. They can experience joy. They can experience wonder. By their actions, they can help guide us on the path of the heart. Tips for respectfully, happily living with the 2-year-old. Interest is the key. Encourage your child to do the tasks that attract them as soon as they show interest. Their work may not be up to your expectations of perfection, but they can improve with practice. You can offer them jobs that are simple and specific, with clear physical evidence of proper completion. For example, all their clean clothes put in their drawer, all their toys picked up off the floor and put in their places on the shelf, the hammer put back in the toolbox, a small bag of groceries carried from the car to the kitchen. This enables them to judge for themselves whether they have completed the task satisfactorily. Questions to journal and/or think about. How might thinking about the noble qualities of 2-year-olds help you find harmony with them? How might you help your 2-year-old follow their interests? Lesson 4, daily life activities, so valuable. It helps your 2-year-old when you provide small versions of what they see you use. Sponges, you can cut theirs to fit their hand. a broom, if you use one, dustpan and brush, watering can, window squeegee, bucket, tools, the tools used for whatever they're interested in doing. Sometimes they may want to use your larger versions for the purposes of their developmental blueprint, like for developing strength and coordination. It is important to understand that adults do these activities for an outer purpose. I'll explain this shortly. A 2-year-old does them for an inner purpose, to coordinate their intelligence, their willpower, and their movements according to their developmental blueprint. This integrates them as human beings. It can also be part of developing their willpower. 1, wanting to do it. 2, then being determined to do it. And 3, persevering until they are successful. We can know they have been successful because they stop doing the activity and they are peaceful. As I mentioned, there is a difference between the outer purpose for doing an activity and an inner purpose. The outer purpose means an adult wipes a table because the adult decides that the table needs wiping. A young child wipes the table because they need to wipe the table. They may wipe it for half an hour until they're inwardly satisfied and they no longer need to wipe it, at least for now. Notice what interests them, what they are eager to do. Provide opportunities for them to have as many of the desired experiences as possible. Besides developing their willpower and integrating their personality, these interests may indicate talents to be developed or skills to be acquired for the optimum development of their potential. These interests may even lead to forming useful habits. Please keep this in mind. It is better not to do something, lifting, carrying, dressing, if at all possible, for your 2-year-old who wants to do it for themselves. Chosen activities are their means of integrating the different aspects of their personalities. Example of daily life demo. The following activity is just one of many that you can share with your child. They may figure out much of this on their own by watching you and the others in the family, but some details might be easier with the clarity that a clear demonstration can offer them. Before you show them, here are some tips to help you and them. Try and think out the process yourself. What comes first? Next, next. Keep in mind that once Virginia Satir, a family therapist, and her team thought out how to do dishes and came up with well over 200 variations. So don't sweat the variations. Between every 1 or 2 movements, pause briefly so they can process what you just did. Be determined to be patient. If they want to take over the activity, let them. If they are making errors, do not correct them right then, unless they're glad for you to do it. You can always do another demo at another time. You can ask them if you could show them something. You could specify, can I show you how to fold that in another way? And if they're open to it, then go for it. If not, wait. Putting on their t-shirt so the front is in the front. One version. The invitation. Would you like to see how to put on your t-shirt so the front of the t-shirt is in the front of you? They agree. I'll show you how I do it with my t-shirt, and you can do it with your t-shirt. Lay the t-shirts out flat with the fronts up. Show the picture, design, or words on the front. This is the front. Let's turn our t-shirts over. This is the back. Let's keep it so we can see the back. See the neck hole and the armholes? Point them out. I might encourage putting their head in the neck hole first so they don't feel trapped. That depends on the child and the t-shirt. Demonstrate how to put your thumbs between the layers of cloth at the bottom of the t-shirt, and using all of your fingers on the top of the cloth and your thumbs under it, you gather the cloth in your hands, squunching it up. When your fingers get to the neck hole, show how you put it over your head. You want to try? Then show how you find one armhole and put your arm through it. Encourage them to do this. Then show them how you find the other armhole and put your other arm through it. Invite them to do this. Point out how the picture, design, words are in the front. Shall we do it again? Repeat until they are done or just want to continue on their own. Questions to journal and or think about. 1. Make a list, even a mental list or on your phone, of the household chores your 2-year-old sees you or will see being done by of the household chores your 2-year-old sees or will see being done by the others in the family. Make a list of what tools are used for these activities. Start gathering these child-sized tools when you see them. You can do this when your child's a baby. I guess that's what's in mind here. 4, think of what other activities your 2-year-old could do with these tools and what lessons might be helpful. 5, start making a list of these activities. 6, choose the first activity to encourage and or demonstrate. The following slides are from a video on using respect. It includes tips for empowering a young child. Oh, there's a series called Raise Happy Kids, Using Respect. Throughout these videos, I have included as examples questions and answers from a newspaper column titled The Power of Respect. Here's an example of how you might offer respect to a young child. I had a newspaper column many years ago and called The Power of Respect. Oh, I said that. Anyway, so that's what this is from. It can be easy for a young child to develop low self-esteem because everyone else in the family seems to be more capable, stronger, faster. Actually, I want to let you know that people in the community would ask me questions, and I would answer in the local newspaper. That was my column. So this was from a question that someone asked me. Okay. It can be easy for a younger child to develop low self-esteem because everyone else in the family seems to be more capable, stronger, faster. especially since these qualities are often valued. Let me do that. I can do it faster and we're in a hurry. You can't play, you're too little. That's too heavy for you. If you have found this to be the case in your family, you can help them by noticing what they do well. Point this out to them and encourage them to do these things, even if it takes longer or is not done quite right. I love it when you're so kind to our kitties. Thanks for watering the flowers. It helps a lot when you put all your dirty clothes in the hamper. Thanks. They may not notice what they do well and may not give themselves credit. They may value themselves as the baby in the family, being weak and letting others have power over them and their life. Encourage them to do what they love. Help create these opportunities for them. When they want to try new things, be as positive and supportive as possible. If you say anything at all about it, be sure to be encouraging. Place emphasis on the attempt, the process, and not the results. That was a great try. Your throwing arm, it seems to be stronger than it was last week. Keep up the good work. We all make mistakes, especially when we're learning something new. Mistakes tell us what we need to change to do it better. Results improve with practice, with repetition, with improving our technique. When value is placed on results, too often we become discouraged and quit when our first attempts don't give the results we want. Be sure you practice win-win solutions faithfully with them. Take the time, make the effort. This tells them that they are worth this time and effort, and that you value their input and their needs. When a decision involves them, be sure they agree with it too. Now you could just use the one rule and make that your habit. That will take care of all of this. This might mean that they're involved in the decision-making process, though not necessarily. If you do make a decision which involves them without discussing it with them first, perhaps letting them know what went into the decision will be enough to make them feel good about it. However, if they are not content with the decision, be prepared to revise it until you all agree. That's in the one rule. May these videos on respect bring the feeling of being loved and valued to your great kids and to you. Okay, now, let's see. The next, all right, I'm going to close this one up. Okay, the next thing I'm going to share this was a later show. This is actually the 5th in a series of stories that I wrote on the Guardians. All right, let's start here. Okay. This one has to do with 2-year-olds. So, the Guardians, when creating harmony is up to you. That's what works with 2-year-olds. This is part of the the mini lesson that I used to put at the front of all the lessons. Okay. In today's slideshow, we explore a situation where creating harmony is up to you because the other person is too young to be able to participate. That's true with babies and 2-year-olds. And I think it's mentioned in here, grumpy adults, but okay. But this one is for a 2-year-old. Jenny and Pam were walking Timmy home as usual. You're right, Jen, said Pam. I'll bet Kathy can help me with this. I've just been dreading it. I totally forgot what Kathy said about how we can use the one rule with 2-year-olds, but that it's different than what we do with older kids. Remember, we can use it with grumpy adults too, laughed Jenny. It works really well with grumpy adults, said Timmy. We have a neighbor who used to be grumpy. I've been using the one rule for 2-year-olds with him when I have to talk with him. Now he isn't mean. Sometimes he doesn't say anything, but at least he isn't mean. See, Pam, said Jenny, I'm sure Kathy can help you. Yeah, I'm sure she can, but Dean is a real terrible too. No one can stand to be around him, and I got volunteered to take care of him while my cousin is visiting. You got volunteered? Don't you use the one rule at home? Asked Jenny. We usually do, but this was a kind of family emergency. They couldn't reach me to ask me about it. Mom said that with all my experience with the guardians, she was sure I'd agree and do a good job. Would you agree? Asked Jenny. I guess. My cousin really needs the help, and I'm the best one to do it. I was letting this get to me. I'm glad you reminded me about talking with Kathy. Maybe that's why this is happening, so I can learn about taking care of 2-year-olds using the one rule. I just hope it works. Then I could get really good paying jobs babysitting 2-year-olds when I'm a little older. If this works, it could be my specialty. Now that's the way to think, Pam, said Jenny. This could turn out great. My mom should be home if you want to talk with her, said Timmy. I may as well, said Pam. The sooner I feel good about this, or at least better, the more I'll like it. As they got to Timmy's house, Mom, Mom, shouted Timmy. Pam needs to talk with you. Kathy came out on the porch. Hi, girls. Come give me a hug, Timmy, and tell me what's happening. Timmy ran up the stairs to hug his mom. Pam has to babysit a terrible two, and she really needs some help. What's this all about, Pam? Asked Kathy. Kathy had become the coach of the Guardians right from the beginning when Pam and Jenny first walked Timmy home. She taught them the one rule and did weekly sessions with them where they practiced using the one rule. Do you have some time to coach me, Kathy? Asked Pam. Yes, said Kathy. Let's have a snack first. I was just fixing something for Timmy and me. Are you girls hungry? Yes, the girls exclaimed. As they ate, Pam explained what had happened in her family and that Jen had suggested that Kathy could help her. I'm sure we can figure out a good plan for you, Pam, said Kathy. I'll tell you what I've learned about interacting with 2-year-olds. Yeah, that's what I was remembering. You said about working with grumpy adults, said Jenny. That's right, and that sure works, said Timmy. Timmy had become so confident during his time with the Guardians. Okay, let's get started, said Kathy. I'm going to tell you what you have to do differently with 2-year-olds or grumpy adults when it comes to the one rule. I am also going to tell you why the terrible twos develop and how to avoid them. Sound good? Sure, anything that helps, said Pam. Soon after a child is through the terrible twos, you won't have to do this, but for 2-year-olds and really anyone younger, like toddlers and babies, you have to be the one to find the harmony. They cannot participate any more than they already are. They are already in harmony with their developmental blueprint, and that takes all of their attention. What's that, their developmental blueprint? Asked Pam. It's what's built into all of us so that we figure out how to move our bodies, like walking. We learn the language where we're born. We learn so much to help us live our lives. And we all learn these things at about the same time and in the same order. That's how we know about the developmental blueprint. I'll tell you briefly what we know about 2-year-olds and their development and why it seems that they are difficult or even terrible. 2-year-olds are developing their willpower. They're making themselves into people who know what they want, who know how to get what they want, and who are determined to keep going until they get what they want. What makes this so difficult for those around them is when they are determined to do and have things that other people do not want them to do or have. That sure sounds like Dean, said Pam. I'm not surprised, said Kathy, because of what you have said about him. To be able to work with him, you have to pay attention to him. As a person at this stage of development, he must practice wanting and being successful. He has no choice. Young children have to do what their developmental blueprint directs them to do. So in a way, he already is in harmony with his developmental blueprint, which guides his development. Harmony? Then why is he such a brat? Asked Pam. He isn't necessarily in harmony with those around him, so it is up to them to get into harmony with him, said Kathy. Get into harmony with a brat? Asked Pam. He's only considered a brat because the adults around him do not understand what he is doing and do not know how to work with him. It can make all the difference if people work with him instead of against him, explained Kathy. So how do I work with him? Asked Pam. First, it helps if you find harmony inside yourself, said Kathy. How do I do that? Asked Pam. There are various ways. We have a whole training on this. Before he gets there, you could give yourself a timeout. Timeout? Why do I need a timeout? Asked Pam. Just to have some time to yourself, doing something you enjoy, like listening to music or reading or dancing, or writing a list of things you're glad about in your life, or even just sitting quietly and paying attention to your breath going in and out of your nostrils, or listening to an app on your phone like dripping water or central air. With the first two, the idea is to get you focusing on what you appreciate about your life. These help you feel the good feelings of harmony inside of you. With the last two, it's to stop your thoughts. This helps you get in touch with the source of harmony inside of you, explained Kathy. I think I'll start with writing a list of things I'm glad about, said Pam. It's good to do this every day to make it a practice, said Kathy. Maybe we can tell all the guardians about this, said Jenny. I want to do it too. That's a great idea, Jen, said Pam. I agree, Pam, said Kathy. You can help me with this, can't you, Mom? Asked Timmy. We can do this together, can't we, Mom? Sure we can, Timmy, said Kathy. So what do I do next? Asked Pam. It's very important to remember that your work is to put yourself in harmony with Dean, since he can't get into harmony with you. Realize that he is doing important developmental work and do your best to think yourself into harmony with him. Make sure you keep feeling good about what's going on between you. That is you being in harmony with him. That is you being in harmony with him. I'm going to read this again. Make sure you keep feeling good about what is going on between you. That is you being in harmony with him. Pay close enough attention to him while you're with him to notice when he first chooses to do something. He needs to keep practicing wanting something and doing his best to achieve it. If you notice he is choosing something you do not want him to choose, when he has first made a choice, it's easier to get him to choose something else, something that you feel good about. Once he's become determined to do or have something, it's easier to go along with him and make sure that it goes smoothly, explained Kathy. What did you mean by think yourself into harmony with him? Asked Pam. Let's say you didn't realize that he had chosen to take the TV remote into another room. Since he's already doing it, he's being determined. So to think yourself into harmony, you might think, I'm going to follow him, and when he's done, I'll make sure to put the remote back, but where he can't get it again. So you think that, and you do that. Now, if you see that he's going to put it in the dog's water bowl, you have to interrupt him. Just do your best to make it an enjoyable experience for both of you instead of an unhappy one. So besides finding harmony inside yourself, paying close attention is one of the most important things. Doing your best to create harmony with the other person is another important part of this. I just had a thought, said Pam. What if we came over here, at least for the first time? Then I could see how to do things. Yes, Mom, said Timmy. Let's do that. I have toys he can play with. That should work out, said Kathy. Just let me know in advance so I can reschedule coaching calls if I have any at that time. I think that I will suggest this as our practice during our next guardians meeting. It can help in all kinds of situations, even with parents, really with anyone who isn't familiar with the one rule. We all need to know these skills if we're going to introduce the one rule into our families and communities. Great idea, Kathy, said Pam. Yes, said Jenny and Timmy. Okay, cool. All right. Maybe I'm gonna see if we can get through this next. This is the training. Okay, let's see from current slide. Okay, this was for today. This is episode 93. Intro to creating harmony with the one rule. During this 1-hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then when we have guests, we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You found agreement. You found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy actually intended for adults. And they taught me this, but it took me a long time to find it. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. The one rule, start strong. You have decided that you really want harmony with your child. That sounds so good, right? Everyone feeling good and getting along. You've decided that you do not want to make your child do what they do not want to do. And you do not want to do what you do not want to do. And you are going to make this work. You've decided that you want to use the one rule to make this happen. This is going to become your new habit. You remember that when you use the one rule, you're sharing the following messages with your kids. I want us all to be happy. We are each important. Together we can solve our problems. I believe in you. I love you. To create this new habit, you're going to start with yourself and what you want. You decide that you're going to let how you feel about a situation determine whether you agree with it or not. If it feels good, then you can agree with it. If not, you cannot. Think about a situation. Ask yourself, is this situation okay with me just as it is? If yes, your work on that is done. If no, what would have to change, be different, so that I could feel good about it? Maybe several versions of this situation would feel fine with you. Maybe only one. This exercise, this practice, helps you make a habit of following the one rule. No matter what age your kids are, this exercise helps ensure a strong start and makes following the one rule so much easier. Here is an understanding that might make following the one rule even easier. Recently, I asked myself a question. What do I want people to feel when they're connecting with my work? I definitely want them to feel good about themselves. Then the following answer appeared to my surprise and delight. I want people to realize that they are already using the one rule. That understanding surprised me, and as more and more of it was revealed to me, it delighted me. Of course, people are already using the one rule. I'm not teaching them anything they don't know. I'm not teaching them anything strange to them. I'm just helping them expand their use of something they use daily without thinking about it. They use it. You use it. Every time you come to a decision inside of yourself, you're using the one rule. Most likely, you had to consider several options or possibilities to reach that decision. Even if it just took you a few seconds for you to agree with yourself, that is what I want. You also use the one rule whenever you agree with someone else. Together, you come to a decision, an agreement. Yes, tomorrow I'll go to the auto parts store after I get my nails done. Even with your kids, you're using the one rule. You're coming to agreements. Think about it. Of course you are. You're just not thinking of it as a rule, as something required. So at times you're not coming to agreement. I am here to help you think of coming to agreement as required, as a rule, as the one rule. You just expand the situations where you come to agreement until coming to agreement is just what you do and your kids do. It's the rule you and your kids follow. When you use the one rule, you are creating harmony. Your kids are creating harmony. You're becoming familiar. You're becoming used to creating harmony, familiar with how good it feels to everyone involved. One point to be clear on is that even if a situation seems complicated and it seems that it's impossible to find a solution that everyone involved can feel good about, it is still possible. An important thing to remember is that there is a way for things to work so that everyone involved gets to feel good. Keep that in mind. This has been my experience whenever I have made this effort. A clear, helpful way to introduce the one rule to your kids actually originates from the first time the children introduced me to what is now the one rule. You can do what I did so they could understand what we were doing. I told the two little girls 3 things. 1, you are each important. Point to each person involved. You are important and you are important. And if it's your problem too, I am important. 2, you or we each deserve to feel good. 3, we are going to use the one rule to help this happen. Then tell them what the one rule is. When you actually start working with your kids using the one rule, helping them follow their interests is one of the easiest ways for you to start. That makes sense, right? It is also one of the most beneficial things you can do for your kids. Why is it good for your kids to do what really interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony, inner harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they are interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. Okay. Share. Okay. I hope everybody has a great week and practices using the one rule. Have a good time on stream. And